Hello, hello, spooky kids. Brace yourselves for an evening of wit, wisdom, and a dash of the paranormal. Our guest tonight is a connoisseur of the unexplained, armed with a razor-sharp sense of humor and a keen eye for debunking the spooky and the supernatural. He's the guy who can spot a fake ghost faster than you can say boo. His reaction videos are a delightful blend of skepticism and comedy, from tearing apart the veil of the supernatural and exposing the staged paranormal events to his recent dive into the world of fake psychics with a mix of humor and disbelief. His videos are a testament to his dedication to the truth, from which he has built a loyal following by shedding light on the shadows. When he's not busting myths, this multi-talented individual is also a musician, co-writing the hauntingly good song Evil Unearthed with Joe Vitale for Matt Benton's upcoming documentary, which shares the name of the song, and has been making music most of his life, well before the commodities of the internet ever existed. With over 150 videos spanning over the past 4 years, his newest just released a few days ago. He's here to entertain. He's real, he's raw, and he's the unapologetic champion of mayonnaise on hot dogs. Everybody, please give a warm welcome to the one and only Crow of Judas.
Hello, and thank you for that build-up. I appreciate it.
Oh, man. No problem. No problem. How's it going?
Pretty good, man. And that was very Art Bell of you.
Good. Good. What we got here? We've got Booberry. We've got Caroline Saxby. Cynthia Bosse. I believe that's right. I feel like I don't know if that's... I think that's right. Fantastic Publishing, also known as the beautiful, gorgeous Sarah. We've got Janice Crammon, Mike O. Minerals, Stay Tuned CC, and Steph Cuervo Queen, all in the house. Thanks for dropping in with us tonight and spending the evening with us. Let's see here. I've got some questions for you. Somewhere.
Okie doke.
Somewhere. Where did those go? Oh, I know where they are. Hold on. I've already screwed up. Hold on, let me do this real quick. People can see that, but that's okay. All right, now they can't. So while I'm getting my head out of my ass, what was it that like inspired you to start debunking paranormal videos? What was it that just you were like, you know what? I don't like this. What triggered that?
Well, I was watching. I recently found like ghost hunting on YouTube because I was watching YouTube on my TV. I stumbled across Omar. Gosh, he was doing a video about a trailer that he had found. He's like, "Hey, I found that you can find cheap trailers on Craigslist," and he was like showing how you can buy a trailer. And I was like, "Who is this freaking guy? He's kind of interesting." And then I went to his channel and found this ghost hunting stuff, and it started on this whole binge watching Omar, and I found his friends, and every day after work I come home and put Omar on, and I was obsessed with it.
Right.
And one day we were watching it, we're like, I was like, come on, that was crazy what just happened. That can't not be real. And then so at that point I searched Omar Gosh Fake and on YouTube screen on my TV, and that's when a little weird guy in a hockey mask pops up, and I was like, this guy is. I clicked on it. It literally said he had a video about Omar Gosh being fake, and I was like, this is the only guy. And I searched for more. And I was like, he was the only one saying this online. I was like, wow, this guy knows. This guy knows what's going on, and that's what's got me into this. But I would say, as far as like, I followed Shape for a while, and then there was a video by a guy named Holy Walker. I was sitting here watching this video, and it was so absurd because the ghost was supposedly stabbing a knife in the wall, and this ghost was doing all these crazy things. I was like, that's it. I've got to do something. I can't just sit back. And that video literally made me go download a freaking a software to start doing my own videos.
Right, so it was, that's interesting because Omar was one of those that I used to watch too. And I mean, he's a nice guy, it seems like. He's a likable dude. And that's really what he plays on is that charisma he has,
Yes.
And after a while, it was just like, this can't be. There's just no way. He went into this house that was like supposedly like abandoned, and it was an old Jewish home and all this. And because there were like symbols on the floor of it. I think that's the one where he did the Dybbuk box. And the thing dude, he's running around calling the thing Dybbuk. Hey, Dybbuk, can you hear me? And it's like, that's not how that works.
God.
That's not how that works,
I remember that video. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
I do want to tell the chat some stuff here real quick before we carry on. So Crow's going to be here for at least until 7:30 my time, which is about 2 hours and 20 minutes from now. I encourage you to save all your questions for later because I want to do something special. I'll be spending the next about hour and a half or so interviewing Crow, and then what we'll do is we'll take questions and call-ins at the end. And I'm really putting myself out there by doing the call-ins thing, and I don't expect everybody to do it, but if you want to, you can. What we'll do is you can either choose to put your question in the chat, or you can choose to come on the stage of the live stream and ask your question live. And once it's time to do that, we'll figure out a way to get you a link to where you can come in and ask your question. You'll be placed into a queue, and once it's time to do that, I'll further explain how to do that. I hope that works for everybody. I hope everybody digs on that because it's something I'd like to try. I don't see anybody else do it that way, so it's just something to try. Let's see here. What's the most ridiculous paranormal you think you've ever done? Like, what was just something where you were just like, I can't believe anybody's eating this up. I've got to slap this.
Honestly, I would say this last one I just did. It was so bad you can't even debunk it. There's some that are just so bad. There's no reason trying to break it down or explain it. It's just self-explanatory. Where that guy just puts himself in front of a video camera and has literally somebody just throw a book at his face. it's so bad. It's beyond bad. I wasn't even going to stoop down to that level and do that, but it was so bad I couldn't resist. But there's been a lot like that. Well, there was one in particular, a guy named Al Capone and Carlos the Fan. They're friends of Omar's, and they went to a what do you call those cemeteries on the inside?
Like a mausoleum.
There you go. There you go. And they went in there, and they were literally like tipping over the couches and chairs and throwing things inside the mausoleum. I need to bring that back up because that was really, I bet the owners of that place would not be happy if they knew they were doing that, first of all. But they were throwing this stuff around, and like, I mean, that's as bad as you can get because it's so disrespectful.
Yeah. And, it's awful. That's awful.
Yeah.
That's not, I mean, I can't believe anybody would think that that's okay to do and make a video out of that. Like, hey, look at me being a complete ass and also putting it on the internet for the world to see. I mean, I guess a lot of people do that, but it just seems like, I guess nothing is off limits, right? When you're a douchebag.
Yeah.
Let's see. It looks like Mythos Paranormal dropped in. Thank you. What an honor it is to see you here. And Jolene came in. Jolene, I wonder if she gets tired of hearing people sing that song.
Probably.
I always, every time I hear it, I always think of there's a kitty cat version where it's toe beans, toe beans, toe beans, toe beans. That's what I always think of. It makes it cute, damn it.
Oh my gosh.
How do you go about because there's so many videos that deserve a debunk. How do you determine which ones you're going to do?
Good question. I've never been asked that before. For me, I like to find something that I can use my humor on. So I'll try to find something like, if I can find a video that we have multiple people, like 2 or 3 people in the video, and they're in like a house. I love those because the sound quality is pretty good, and they're all saying ridiculous shit that I can bounce off of.
Right.
So if it's something that there's enough there that I can like, if I watch a video, I'm already thinking of like jokes as I'm watching. I'm like, okay, this is the one.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm watching some asshole walk through the forest that's not really that great for me because there's not too much you can say for that, and so a lot of it has to do with if I can make it funny or not.
Yeah.
And unless I find it really, my kind of rule of thumb is if I can't debunk it, I'll just make fun of it.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, I was watching the one, just the one that you put out the other day with CJ's friend, and I love like his response. What the hell was that? And like he's looking right at whoever's throwing it, and then it happens again, and same reaction, But the build-up was so good. It's like I don't know if I can debunk this. And it's just like, oh man, I just love how. For me, when I watch your videos, because when you put out a video, dude, I'm there. As soon as I find out it's there, I'm fucking on it. And
Wow.
Because I love the rawness. I love how, you're putting your editing skills, I'm sure, go beyond what you're doing, but you're just doing what you need to do, and then you are being who you are, and you'll say it how it is. You're not afraid to do that, and I think that there needs to be more of that. I think there needs to be more people who are as punk rock as you are when it comes to that kind of thing. Have you ever seen a video that made you second guess your skepticism?
Oh, that I thought was actually could be real.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's a hard one because I've seen just a lot that made me question. Yeah, there having a few that I was like, that could be something. But now if you put me on the spot, I couldn't tell you exactly which one that was, because it's funny. The longer we've done this, some of the videos that I thought were like, oh, that could be real. Now when I look at it with my eyes from now, I'm like, oh, that's fucking bullshit. So
yeah.
I'd be kind of pressed probably to find a video that could say to you, well, for example, there's a couple of videos on my channel where I started doing like real paranormal things that I thought were real. And one of them was this kid that got in a car wreck, and you could see a head floating above the car. Mm-hmm. There was a picture from 1984. I saw it on Oprah channel back in the day.
Right.
It's still a fucked up picture, man. But like, I've heard from Joe, I've heard from Kitty Biddle, and it's probably what do you call it? Photo flare, or what do you call it when it
lens
bleeds?
Flare. Double exposure, or
double exposure, lens flare, that kind of thing. And there's a lot of evidence to show that's probably that. I don't think they can prove it's that, but now that I see from that point of view, I'm like, what? That's quite possible. And it probably, if you use Occam's razor, it probably is just that.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate of Occam's razor.
Yes.
Yeah. It looks like Sarah knows which picture you're talking about too. She says that's a spooky picture. Yeah. So are you? I guess. I mean, I feel like I already know, and most people here do too. But if in the event that somebody comes across this video that doesn't know much about you, are you completely? Are you a skeptic or are you a non-believer? Let's start there.
I'm a skeptic believer.
Okay, so you believe that there is something paranormal in the world, is that right?
Totally in the paranormal. And a lot of people, I think there's a lot of misconception with debunkers. Sometimes they think that they're not non-believers. I don't think there's any that's totally. I mean, Sega's about as close as you can get. I think he still has a possibility that's real, but I think Beardo, I think everybody believes. I think Shay doesn't possibly believe as well, but for most of us, we do believe. I believe, but there's a difference between like believing in the paranormal, but it's what these people are trying to convey as real. So we're not really debunking the paranormal. I think I'm debunking the actual people claiming it's paranormal, is what I do. Because most of them are full of shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
yeah,
I believe though. But I can't lie though, man. The more I've done this though, I have gotten even more skeptical, because every time I see something, anything, it's like, oh, this, it's, oh man, you won't believe this is right here, and show it to me, and I see it. I instantly go, wow, that's not real. That's, and it's getting harder to believe still. But there are certain cases that I kind of keep dear to my heart that I kind of reference to. Okay, I know it's real because of this, and that, but.
Yeah, such as what? Can you give me an example of that?
Well, the Smurl case, I think was a real case. There's a really good movie. I'm telling you, it still holds up. 1993, called The Haunted. It was a made-for-TV movie about the Smurls, and it was, even the Warrens went there at one time. It's a very public case, and I do not believe that. And the family was just a normal family, Friars Club. You know, they had all the stuff, and they had this haunting, and it tore their lives apart. And I look at that, I've studied that case, and there's just no way in hell that they would go through all that crap and basically ruin their public life to fake some haunting. It wasn't in there. It's like a profile of like a killer or something. It just doesn't fit. There's no reason why they would do that. And the actual movie is really good because it shows things that actually happened from their case. And it does go a little, you know how in movies do, they indulges.
Sure.
But it was that case, I believe, was real. And that entity, whatever you want to call it, did a lot of mimicking, where it was acting like, you know, the mom would go downstairs and she would hear her daughter cussing at her, and her daughter wasn't even there, stuff like that. That case blew me away. The Rain Man was another case that I still believe is real because of so many witnesses from cops. He's a guy that made it rain on the inside. Stuff like that is what keeps me going, like, wow, okay, there's something going on. And they still haven't proved his ghost, by the way, either. So we don't even know what we're dealing with. We think it's ghost because that's kind of like what we've all been raised up to believe, but it could definitely be something else altogether.
Yeah. Now, can you remind everybody who the Smurls, what that case is? Can you remind the main story or whatever of that?
They moved into they took all their money and moved to a new house. I forgot what it's up there. It's up north. I think it's in Pennsylvania, possibly. And they moved to this new house, and for about a month, everything was cool. But then after about a month, they started having small things happen here and there. And it was definitely demonic, if you want to say it. If it's this classic demon type case. Not saying it's a demon, but it started doing things like, at one time, the father even felt like he was raped by a ghost or an entity, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of a hard one to explain. It's basically your classic kind of haunting, but it went national. It was on national news. The fucking reporters were all over the yard trying to get their pictures and interviews and stuff. It was crazy. It was a very famous case, but I really implore you to watch the movie The Haunting, because it actually, you know, tells you what happened pretty much. It's free on YouTube.
Okay. The Haunting or The Haunted?
The Haunted, sorry. The Haunted.
Okay. Yeah, I'm interested. I've probably heard about it before, but it's one of those I've been through every ring when it comes to the paranormal and all the stories and stuff, and so a bunch of them have probably bleed together or just disappear in my mind castle. And yeah, you know what I mean. I've probably heard about it before. It sounds familiar, but yeah, I was just, it's like, okay. The Rain Man. You said that was the guy that made it rain inside the house. Yeah,
I think his name was something Decker was his name, and he's still around too. But he was in prison. He got let out for like a 3-day thing to go to his grandpa's funeral, and after his grandpa's funeral, he went back to like his mom's house or something, and had a whole thing happen there. All of a sudden, water started pouring from the freaking ceiling and going all which ways, and they called the cops because they were so scared. And the cops showed up, and they were freaked out. They didn't know what it was. They didn't know what was causing it.
Gotcha.
And they even interviewed all those cops, by the way, individually, and they still even have recently interviewed those guys. And these are grown-ass men, you know what I mean? If there's a pipe leaking from the wall, you're going to go, oh, that's just a pipe, dude, you know?
Right.
These cops were saying that this water was coming at them in all different ways and like levitating, and he even went back to jail, and it even happened again in the prison.
Huh.
So, and I guess for me, there's no camera footage, but I take people's actual, you know, what they say, especially when it's like an authoritative figure. You know, a bunch of cops, especially in the 80s, they're not going to freaking make this stuff up, especially back then. You know, back then there was like a stigma.
Right.
You know, you're not going to come out and say that, oh, there was some creepy ghost stuff going on at this house because that's your livelihood.
Yeah, totally.
And yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if it. I mean, were things moving around him and stuff like that, or was it just that he would make it rain?
Before the rain stuff, supposedly he had some stuff that happened to him in the kitchen where he got thrown against the wall, and some stuff happened before then, and then the water started coming through the ceiling, and they couldn't explain it. And then when they got to the prison, something happened where he told the guard that he was, "I'll make it rain," and then where the actual warden sat, his clothes got wet, and the guy next to him, something like that. All the people that were on staff were freaked the fuck out. Just put it that way.
Yeah.
They were all freaked out. And after that, it stopped. And it was something that was basically, they found out that his grandfather was molesting him. And when he died, he saw him in the mirror. And after that, it all went to shit. And it all sounds silly. It's really stupid. I had no proof of it. But that case for me, when I watched those cops, they interviewed them one by one. And I'm like, these guys saw something they can't explain.
Yeah.
These are grown-ass policemen. They're not going to sit there and go, "You're mistaken, they flooded the house for paranormal." You know what I mean? That'd be the last thing. This was something unusual that happened to this guy, Donnie Decker is his name.
Donnie Decker.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting, because when you say it was raining, it's like, well, I wonder if it's just like something that he's doing. Somehow he's able to, like Storm from the X-Men. There's something that he can do, you know?
Right, yeah.
You know? But when you're saying he was thrown up against the wall, and there's like these other details about his Uncle Ticklefingers haunting him and shit.
Yeah.
You know, that's I don't know, man.
It was really creepy, man. If you watch the whole story, there's YouTube videos about this whole story. It's really creepy as hell.
Yeah. All right. Well, so like, what's the most, like, when you're looking at staged paranormal events, what's the most common thread, the most common thing that you see in where people are staging? Is there something that you can kind of pinpoint where it's like, oh, I see this all the time, that kind of thing?
Yeah, you'll see in a lot of top 5 videos, even not just top 5s, but like just fakers in general. Anytime something moves, it's always coming from a place you can't see. Like if they're filming a bathroom and something, you know, let's say, for example, they're filming a door, the door closes, the door opens, you can't see the other side of it, or something comes off the camera and you can't see where it came from. There's just always a spot that it's, for example, like if you're filming like a chair, the chair will usually come towards the camera. It never goes away from the camera with a wall behind it. It's always from a part where it's easily pulled, or, you know, even blown with a blower. They use a lot of blowers now, which the blower thing was pretty cool, because we were used to string for a while. We're used to all this stuff, but then when they started using the blowers, they would actually take like a high power blower and then replace the audio so that way you couldn't hear the blower. And you have all this stuff flying around. It's like, how are they doing this? This is cool as hell.
Right.
And then the blower thing caught on for a while. But I would say that you see a lot on the top 5s is the doors closing,
right,
the chairs moving, and it's always in a direction where you can't see it, where it's coming from. That makes sense?
Yeah, totally.
That's the most common. Every top 5 is goddamn doors closing, lamps moving, and you can't see the other side of the fucking table.
Right.
It's the same old lame shit. And I watch different top 5s and different things to see, like, but it's always the same shit. I mean, even though the other night we did a top 5s live reaction on this new channel, I was like, this is a new top 5. Let's see if there's something new. It's just everyone's the same crap. It's doors closing, chairs moving. It's the same old stuff. Nothing's changed. And all the fakers, even the new fakers, they're doing the same shit they were doing 5 years ago. It's funny how people from all across the world, a faker is a creature of habit.
Right.
Even fakers that never even met each other, they just have the same tendencies. I swear to God, it's so funny how they all work. They do very similar things.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if it just seems apparent to me. Every single Japanese ghost video is fake. I mean, when I look at it, it's like this is fake. That it's painfully obvious how fake it is. But at the same time, it's like I keep watching in hopes that I find something, because it's always like the Ring-looking chick that shows up. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Every single time, and then I kind of become disheartened by that, because it's like, well, man, if I can't find a single Japanese ghost video that I think is real, are they watching American ghost videos and thinking the same thing? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's because, I mean, I know what I've experienced, and actually that brings me to my next question here in a minute, but I know what I've experienced, and I know that, like, I'm a logical thinker. I'm completely down to earth, and I'm not gonna just jump on, oh, that was a ghost. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna do that. But it's like, again, like I said, it's, you know, I see these videos from Japan, and I can't for the life of me take them seriously. And I just wonder, it's like, do they look at us the same way? Are they able to see things in the same way that I see them there? Because those just look, like I said, painfully obviously staged. But what about you, as far as, have you ever had anything happen, like, that you couldn't explain?
Yeah, I was gonna say before we move on, I just saw something else. I want to add to what you just said too.
Sure.
At least the Japanese ones, they make some pretty spooky ones though.
Right.
They're good at making scary looking videos, which they're really good at doing. But they're obviously painfully fake. They're really high tech though, as far as the editing they do. But I was gonna say one more thing before we move on. You're asking. I had to think about it for a second about what fakers do that you want to spot. They do back in 2019, 2020. People were using strings, or it was like willy-nilly, right? They were really faking, obviously. But once debunking started kicking in, right, they had to start hiding their stuff. And it's interesting, once they started hiding their stuff, once the ghost hunters figured out that they didn't have to throw stuff as much, they didn't have to use string. You know why? They figured out they could just go, I just saw a shadow figure. What was that? I just saw this. I just saw that. Once they figured out that they don't even have to show it on camera anymore, they can just act freaked out on the camera and go, I just fucking saw a face. Yeah. And they act all dramatic, and then the viewer's going, oh God. But they never show it, and they don't have to show it, and once they figured that out, man, they went ham with that shit. Yeah. And you're still seeing a lot of that, man. It's all them just having they can't let 3 seconds of dead air pass without saying, you know, oh, my throat's clenching, or I heard something, or I got touched, or they have to keep it going. Now that the apps are here, and the apps is what really lets them, I always say that apps replace string, because before they had to make things move all the time to make it interesting. Now they have the fucking apps. They can just run those the whole time and bounce off of those, and people fucking love it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it reminds me of when Mindseed and Omar Gosh collabed. And Omar's like, I just saw a foot. And then it's like, it's the worst acting, you know. He's, I just saw a foot come out from under that bed. And it's like, I mean, there's, you know, at that point, you're just arguing what you're saying. It's like, well, we didn't see it, but that doesn't mean it wasn't there. They're playing on that, you know.
And you can tell they're making it up. You can literally tell they're making it up as they go. Like, dude, I just saw a face, and it had 3 horns, okay? And then, you know, you can literally watch them making it up as they're talking. It's so painful.
Yeah.
But that, I would say another sure fucking way of knowing this one's fake is if you see something moving in a video, you know, 99.9% of the time it is going to be fake, because in the real world, things don't fucking move. Yeah. There's always going to be an explanation for why it's moving. And if you think you got something on the camera that's moving, and it's, you know, and you think it's real, hell yeah, send it to me. But there's always an explanation most of the time. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen, as far as I can remember, I don't think I ever saw anything move. I heard someone walk through my house once, and my dog heard it. But nothing. I never saw anything move. It's interesting you say that, because I wouldn't say I'm not against that being something that could happen. I've just never experienced it. Oh yeah, you know.
And I think it does happen, but to catch it on tape, because a lot of these things happen for me. I believe they happen in like cases where there's a haunting in a house, a demonic haunting, if you want to call it. I'm just saying demonic because that's what we call it nowadays. But it's usually these residential cases. They're not like, you know, Waverly Hills. You see something moving, or you go to Amityville. these are usually houses that have some kind of spiritual warfare going on and the family is being affected. Those are the times where you actually see a lot of poltergeist activity, but unfortunately it's all personal experiences. It's not caught on tape. To catch something moving on paranormal is like really fucking rare, but to catch it on camera just magnifies how, you know, it's just 1,000 times more rare because it's so hard to catch that for real. And I don't think it's even ever been, you know, we're talking about how to spot a fake. You know, when I watched that Warren's tape, remember from, I forgot which house it was from, and the Warren's, the guy, he taped the table. He put a video camera on the table, moves towards the whole kitchen table, moves towards the camera. It's so funny because when I saw it as a kid, I was like, oh my God, that's paranormal. But when I went as a debunker looking at it now, I'm like, oh my God, he was doing YouTube faking before YouTube was around. Because that's exactly what the creatures of habit. This guy, before YouTube was even a thing, here's this table. And of course, it doesn't go away from the camera, does it? It goes towards the camera. Why? Because they're fucking pulling with string, or there's somebody's down there pulling the table, you know, because you can't see the bottom of the table. But it's so obvious looking back. Right. Somebody's just pulling the fucking table. It's the same. It says, you know, the 80s, and the guys doing the same thing as the fakers are doing in 2024.
Yeah, I remember that case because it was supposed to be focused around this little girl, and she's sitting at the table doing her homework, and they're like, now look, like she can't be moving this table, but it's like, I bet she could. Or she was moving her chair. It was flipping around. And yeah, I've recently kind of, because I was fascinated by the Warrens for a long time too. And you know, I mean, if they were at all paranormal investigators, I mean, I'm sure at some point they probably did encounter something, maybe. But one thing that I've heard is that Ed Warren was very much on the whole idea of like, well, if you can't if the story isn't good where it's ended, make the rest of it up and make it scary. He's like quoted saying stuff like that. And another thing, his name's Bill Burns, the guy from UFO Hunters, the guy that blinks really hard. He's actually one of the first people to debunk Ed and Lorraine Warren, because he was actually at the house with the reporter that initially went there. And I think that's an interesting tidbit, that Bill Burns was one of the first people to ever call Ed and Lorraine Warren out for being fake. Oh, wow. Yeah, pretty interesting, pretty cool. I think he was on Art Bell talking about it one time. Let's see, what was I going to ask you? Something about, I was thinking about something that you said earlier, but we'll come back to it. Talk about the Evil Unearthed song. That's not the first song you and Joe Vitale have worked on together, isn't that right?
No, he had put a song together that he had wrote and put together, I think, before I got involved, and he sent it to me, and he wanted me to try to do something with it, and I wasn't going to at first because it was so different than what I was used to, and the really odd key and stuff like that. But yeah, I ended up forcing myself to do it, to get out of my comfort zone, and that song became Selfish, and really good song. It really good. We're gonna try to redo this song because it was kind of like, when we did it at the time, the actual sound quality wasn't the greatest. So we're gonna try to redo that song. But it's about, you know, losing somebody. You know, it's a really personal type song. But yes, we got 2 songs together now. We're fixing to start a 3rd one.
Oh, cool. And so you guys are just at the beginning of putting that together now, then?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally early stages of trying to figure out which direction we're going.
Joe must have known that I was about to be talking about this, because he just showed up in chat right as I brought that up.
There you go.
So how do you balance your? I mean, I could say you have a passion for music. Isn't that appropriate?
Hell yeah. Yeah.
How do you balance that with your debunking?
I would say now the channel's taken priority, because I actually have followers and I have members, and, you know, so this is like my thing, you know. But I love music more than anything. As far as hobbies, that's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, when you're playing a song, in that moment, you are truly like not thinking about whatever your problems are. It's like your release, right?
Yeah.
But and, you know, if it got more serious, and of course, I'd love to do more with it. But you know, I try to sneak in like small. After I do a video, I'll jump on some music stuff for a bit, you know, and not try to sneak it in between videos, you know.
Right. Yeah. And I can relate to that too. It's like, you know, being in a band for so long and putting out all this stuff and putting all this time and effort into your music, and like, you know, for lack of a better term, like no one seems to care. You know what I mean? Like it's interesting that, you know, you make a video and people will watch it, but if you're like, hey, I wrote this song, no one cares. It seems like, at least on my end of it. So
yeah, I totally feel you on that. Yeah.
Yeah, and once you start putting out something that people are responding to, you naturally gravitate towards that. Like, okay,
Yes.
well, I have something here. Maybe I should focus on this. But again, music is one of those things. If it's within you, like it's going to be. There's an itch that's never going to get scratched unless you start, you know, paying attention to it. When did you start playing music?
I think I started playing drums around 8 years old.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and so yeah, I started playing drums, and then I got into band. You know, I was in band, hardcore band guy, band geek, and then I played saxophone and clarinet for a bit, and guitar, and I actually played guitar for a band for a while when I was 15. But yeah, my main instrument was drums, and then eventually moved on to vocals. I still play drums almost every fucking day, but
Nice.
I love singing. Is for me, like, is more, what do you call it? Cathartic, whatever you want to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that too. Like I started with drums when I was 12, and I was awful. You know, I was awful. And but you know, it obviously through time you get better, and there's just something about sitting down behind a kit, which I was able to do this last Saturday, and like you just feel at home. It's the most comfortable instrument for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can hide behind the kit.
Right.
You don't have to be in front of her. You know, that's just a little domain, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, your band is, this is a big thing. Like your band is only as good as your drummer, you know? What do you ever find yourself getting stale when you sit behind a kit? It's like, just the same shit. Or do you look for, how do you get out of stuff like that?
I'll throw on some, you can go on YouTube, and they have a lot of songs with no drums. So you can put in jazz, no drums, funk, no drums, and just play to their music. And, you know, you start playing some weird shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll start playing some 80s pop or something I usually wouldn't play.
Right.
But, you know, I'm like, this is actually fun. I'm fucking playing Duran Duran right now, you know?
Yeah.
Just to change it up a bit. And that's actually really fun. Or even Indian tribal music. I'll throw some of that on, man, and like start doing my own thing to that. It's just, it's fun. Because I was in a band, we played jazz. We played old school jazz. We played fucking, what's that Jesus thing? Jesus of, no. I mean, just some kind of Jesus of Nazareth marching thing. Like I played a lot of symphonic music. So I was always all over the place when it comes to music. I love classical and symphonic music as well.
Yeah, I like all kinds of stuff, and it's like recently I've been getting into more, I wouldn't say getting into, but I've been open-minded to more music that I never would touch, and just, I don't know, just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's bad, you know?
Right.
And I guess like you, it's like when I get into this funk, it's like, well, maybe if, I don't know, the music will hit me when it does, but sometimes you need an extra push, you know, and sometimes, and like you said, getting out of your comfort zone, that's the thing, right? Because when you stay comfortable too long, you stop growing.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. And yeah, so I think when it comes, it's paramount if you want to get better, then open up to stuff that you normally never would even try. And you might find yourself inspired by something that never would have happened in the first place had you not just, not just pushed yourself. So the music video for Evil Unearthed, can you give me a little behind the scenes of how that came to be?
Well, it was shot at the Monroe house.
Oh,
well,
really?
Sorry, some of it was shot at the Monroe house. Sorry.
Okay.
Some of the clips of Helena and things like that. A lot of the B-roll shots were shot at the Monroe house. The original video, we had a whole video mapped out. It was going to be super cool, but once they got to the Monroe house, they didn't have time to do all the shots that we wanted to do. So when Joe got back, he kind of took it upon himself to do his own version of what we talked about, which was, they get to the Monroe house, they're a ghost hunting team going to the Monroe house. They find late at night, they see a glowing light out in the yard. And they walk out back to see what it is. And it's supposed to be Helena originally. And she bends down and she pulls this mask out of the ground. And it's this whole thing that was supposed to happen that we're going to have in the video. It was a really cool concept because when she pulls the mask out of the ground, it's lit up. And then when she pulls out of the ground, it turns off. And she looks at the wire, and the wire is like, it's cut. Just so she's like looks confused. She's like, how is this lit up? There's no battery back to it or whatever. It's just a wire. And then she's looking at the mask, and then she kind of starts getting kind of like, in a trance state. And then she puts the mask on. And when she puts the mask on, it lights back up. And then at that point, the music kicks in. And at that point, the mask takes her over.
Right. Sort of like the mask. Sort of like the mask, like the Jim Carrey thing,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got those vibes when I watched it. I was like, this is fucking neat. Like, it's such a cool idea, It's such a cool idea. Where did that come from? Where did that come from?
It was just us. It was me and Joe and a few of us just on the phone, like, spitballing ideas for a video. Mm-hmm. And I thought, and I don't know how it came about, to be honest with you, but it was just, I thought it'd be a really cheap, cool effect. So we don't have much money here. We don't have much time. This would be so easy to do. And we had this whole fucking game plan where maybe we can redo that at a different time. If they all hook back up again at a location, we can reshoot that, because I really want to see that happen. So I don't know, but just Joe had to do his own thing though. He dug with the mask and he turns it on in his hands. It works. He used a lot of B-roll and just like extra footage to make the video. Right. So it's not what it was supposed to be, unfortunately. Yeah.
Well, things never are, especially when you put too fine a point of an idea. Always with music. I mean, even with, I'm learning that too with the documentary. It's like something is, you've got to be able to kind of roll with the punches. And I will say, man, Joe Vitale's B-roll is fucking on point, dude.
It's a chef's kiss.
Yeah, it's really, that's the kind of stuff that they don't teach you in film school. I don't know what his history is with that, which is something that I'll probably talk with him about whenever I have him on. But it's one of those things, like, when I watched it and like the scraping of the dirt away, and the way that was done.
Yeah.
It's really it really speaks upon the imagination of how he sees the final product, and it's very I guess, for lack of a better word, inspiring, because I see that and I'm just like, man, it's a simple effect, but it worked perfectly for that video. And yeah, that video is really good, really well shot. The music's good. It was done really well. So with that being said, what you say that you have some upcoming stuff that's being born right now. What do you expect from it, and what do you think the fans can expect from that?
I love to do. I want something. I heard a riff of his where he was like a really melodic, it's clean guitar, like kind of like This Love or Cemetery Gates. How it starts off with a melodic. I love something that's more emotional and heartfelt. but then it has spots in it where it's really heavy and gives me a chance to scream, but I love screaming, but I don't like screaming all the time. I like
Sure.
to use it in spots where it's needed. So I want to do something that starts soft or more emotional and ends up getting heavy at a time. So probably going to sound very 90-ish.
Yeah, but that's okay though. I think
Yeah.
when I listen to 90s music now, it doesn't sound like the 90s. I mean, some of it does, but like the songs that they still play, it's like those songs are still top notch. I mean, I still hear. I mean, I am drawing a blank right now, but I listen to like a playlist of 90s alternative, and it plays like Ween or Screaming Trees and bands that were kind of Pixies and stuff like that, kind of bands that were definitely underground. Pixies is well known, I think, more so now than they were back then. But even when the Pixies came out in 1987 with Surfer Rosa, and that's the one that has Where Is My Mind and just a lot of great songs on there. And those still, it's like, think about what was coming out in 1987. You had like Rat, you had Cinderella, you had Motley Crue, and then there's the Pixies doing this, like, and that dude can scream, like Frank Black can scream, like it's rib shattering. How you know what I mean? It's so good.
Also, I would say that what you said too, like, it's funny how like all these like hair bands doing this crazy stuff. You have Metallica making the fucking the Justice album.
I know, right?
Time, it's just insane though.
Yeah, Justice was so good. It's such a good album. A lot of people give Lars Ulrich shit for like, oh, he's not a good drummer. It's like, dude, listen to that album and
I know.
Say that again. You'd be lying if you say that again. It's so good.
Yeah.
I think everybody wants to know, and I'm sure you've touched on it before, but it just wouldn't be an interview with Crow of Judas if I didn't ask this question. Where and when did you find that you love mayonnaise on hot dogs?
I wasn't expecting that. I grew up in the South, and my dad used mayonnaise. It's probably from my family. So this goes back a long ways. We put mayonnaise on every fucking thing. So I'm assuming it started back in my early days. And mayonnaise on everything. Mayonnaise on egg sandwiches, mayonnaise on hamburgers, hot dogs, mayonnaise on shrimp sandwiches back then.
Oh, wow.
Used to fried shrimp sandwiches. We live by the water, so yeah, it's been a thing. Me on everything. There you go.
And we're talking legit mayonnaise too, not Miracle Whip, but mayonnaise, right?
Yeah. Oh,
because
yeah.
it's not the
Miracle
same
Whip
thing.
is not allowed in this house.
Oh yeah. I tend to when it comes, I like Miracle Whip, but I like it like in salads. So like ham salad or chicken salad or tuna salad. It says salad dressing right there on the fucking bottle, or on the jar.
I gotcha. Yeah.
But
man, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I tell you this, like, I love deviled eggs, deviled eggs. If you do a mixture of mayonnaise with Miracle Whip and your mustard, dude, and then if you want to, just sprinkle some bacon on it, because bacon makes everything better,
Right.
Let me ask you this: so you have over 7,000 subscribers on your channel, and
right.
You've gained quite a few fans for that. What's the most memorable fan interaction you think you've had?
Oh my gosh, my memory sucks really bad. So, damn.
Anybody that stands out, or anybody that said something to you, or anything like that?
I've had. Well, I can't. As far as one, it's me hard. But when somebody has told me that, like I'm in the hospital, and your videos are making me laugh so hard that, it's that kind of thing which will make you kind of stop and go, wow, this is not just, it might be a silly small YouTube channel, which it is, but to know if it's just one person that's going, I know it sounds cheesy. As I'm saying it sounds cheesy, I know, but for me, it literally kind of affected me. For example, that video we did, Evil on Earth, there's a picture you'll see in that video. It's like a kid's drawing that we used. That was our friend Sharon, her son Gabe. He drew that picture for me.
Okay.
And it said crow on it, and it was a Joker and a crow mixed together. And that, it tore me up, dude, to know that kid drew that for me, and thought of me like that. That was just really eye-opening, man.
Yeah.
And it made me really emotional. Like, this is fucking crazy. And even here recently, I had that kid Harrison that commented and was like, I watch your videos and all this stuff, and I gave him a shout out in the video. And so to hear I get messages from people that, hey, my husband's in the hospital, whatever, and your video, he loves your videos. That kind of thing really affects me.
Yeah.
Because your stupid video that you made is making somebody laugh when they need it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can relate to that. I've got people who, they come to me and they say, look, like, I'm going through a real hard time right now, and mentally I'm not okay, and you are helping me be okay and being a part of this community, which, again, everybody in the chat, I have got to say how much it means, and clearly how much it means to Crow. I don't want to speak for Crow, but, like, my God, like, all of you really make, because I'm dealing with the same things. I've got mental things going on. I've got day-to-day, things that I have to deal with, and knowing that these people are here and are ready to be a part of it, Thank you, Christina Rolls, for subscribing. You beautiful, beautiful lady. I can't thank you enough for that. That's amazing. But yeah, I totally feel you on that, man. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because, it's this whole community of people is just, it's a part of the world I didn't know existed, Yeah.
I'm glad you were always skirt, on the outside of everything, man. Like, it's so funny. You were just on the outside of all this, and now you finally found us. Well, I think you guys found me. I think is how that worked. You're right. I think you guys found me, which is like, like that again, like that emotionally. I have to take deep breaths and pull myself together so I don't cry all over the place. When I watch Kitchen Nightmares with Gordon Ramsay, I cry. I love that show.
I love it too, man. And for some reason, they can always get me to shed a tear.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, I was just talking to somebody this earlier. Who the fuck was that? I love Gordon Ramsay. Man. I love Kitchen Nightmares, and he just doesn't fix the food. He fixed the family,
Yeah.
It's like, it might be for TV, I don't know. I know it gets emotional, man. It's like, fucking hell, you're awesome, Gordon Ramsay. I love you.
Totally. Dude, I watched a video yesterday, it was brand new, where he made a Spam sandwich. But of course, in typical Gordon Ramsay fashion, I mean, he basted it with teriyaki sauce and then grilled it, and then he also did the same thing with pineapple and grilled that, and then like these chili peppers that he put on it, and then put it all on this Hawaiian bun. And I'm just like, bro,
Jeez.
like, what are you doing to that Spam? And can I have it? Because I love Spam, dude. I made Spam burritos when I was in my early 20s and starving. Like refried beans, Spam. And they were good. Dude. They were good.
Dude, I do Spam. I've kind of cut back on the Spam because of sodium, but
totally.
Spam and mayonnaise sandwiches, man. There you go.
And have you had the bacon Spam?
Oh, yeah.
Fuck yeah. That one, if you cut it thinner and let it get crispy, dude. I put mustard on my Spam, though. I put mustard on mine.
Yeah, me too. I do too. Yeah.
That's good shit. So let me ask you this. Obviously, yeah, man.
Can I say real quick? Don't forget your question, though. Because all this debunking stuff, I don't claim to be some fucking like debunking expert. I mean, my skills. I mean, to me, it's common sense. Like, I'll get people like, hey, here's this picture. Can you debunk this? There's some like weird like smoky stuff in the room. It's like I don't know what the fuck that is. I gotta be honest with you. I mostly debunk or try to figure out what the ghost hunters are doing in a video. I don't claim to be like some highly skilled person. There are people that have way better. Purple and fucking Mr. Gray they have editing skills beyond me. They can analyze video in ways that I can't. So I'm not the greatest at it, but I've watched them enough to where I have a lot of, I can catch on to things pretty quickly. So I don't want to come across as like, oh, I'm just debunking, I'm not that. But for more than anything though, I want to make people laugh. So I love a fucking good debunk. I love to catch, like this next video my next video might be my best debunk ever. I just happen to catch a grand slam debunk. But above that, I love making people laugh. That's the best feeling. Somebody says like, oh my God, I woke my husband up because I was in the bed, watching your video. And I laughed so hard I woke him up, or whatever the fuck it was, That's so it's almost become a weird thing. It's like I love debunking, but more importantly, it's almost become about the humor as well. So I wanted to clarify that. I don't want people think I'm just some awesome debunker. To me, it's a lot of common sense stuff that I do.
Right. Thank you, Christian Bat, for the subscription. You absolute legend. I appreciate you. Well, that's an interesting segue. 'Cause the thing is, you say you're not the greatest debunker, but I tell you, you're great at what you do. And that's one of those things, like, it's a strong suit that you have to be able to make people laugh. And you were given that gift, and it would be a crime for you to not use it, You are so great at what you do. So don't sell yourself short. And that's the other thing, too, like the idea you brought up, like, well, if somebody shows me this picture and I don't know what it is, I will say I don't know what that is. You don't just immediately be like, fake, get it out. That's a great trait that you have. And it's cool that you can again remain open-minded, but also not be afraid to call it how you see it. But with all of that, obviously you do get criticism, right, for being a debunker. How do you handle the criticism from the people who like do believe in these videos that you're debunking?
It was a lot worse when I first started. The stuff I'd get sent to me, like threatening shit or that kind of thing. But nowadays I don't get as much hate as I used to. But but then again, you used to, honestly, the comments and stuff don't bother me anymore. Like being called an asshole or whatever. I know Kenny Biddle's gotten way more shit than I have. He's gotten like probably 50 death threats in his, because he pisses everybody off on a professional level, But for me, it's like I honestly just get more annoyed than anything that they're just even just conversation I had with this girl the other day. She's like, that video just did. She's like, Dylan's real, all this crap, and I'm like, I was kind of rude at first. Like, listen, I was just like you at one time. I thought all this was real. I said, I implore you just to go watch my other CJ video, because I 100% proved that him and Omar faked that video, and it was the one where they made the snowman move across the room. That was my first big debunk.
Right.
And the snowman supposedly levitates across the room, and then I figured out there was two snowmen. And that's how they got it. That's how they did it. They act like this. But the reason I was able to spot it, because I went to the other guy's footage and saw his version had a close-up shot of the snowman, and the snowman, it was like these little snowmen for Christmas, these little Christmas decorations. They weren't made the same. They had like different, the eyes were closer in on one, they were made different, obviously. I'm like, there you go. So that was my first big, and then looking back, it's simplistic, but for me at the time, it was like, oh my God, But that was Omar and CJ and Mo. They faked that, and I tell people, hey, go. If you don't believe me, just give me a chance. Watch that video, and then they go, oh, well, I don't think Omar was in on it. That was CJ, or I don't think CJ was in on it. It was all Omar. They don't want to believe that their favorite people are faking, but
yeah.
I try to. I get pissed with them, but I try to point them in the right direction, saying, listen, I think you need to be. I challenge you to watch some debunking videos and then make your mind up,
Right. Yeah. Steph Cuervo Queen, thank you so much for the gifted, which went to Foxfire. Foxfire, you now have access to members only perks, like emojis in the chat. You've got a cute little badge there for you now, which I'm still trying to figure out who to hire for that. To get some better graphics on that. You've also got a couple of videos waiting for you that you were not previously able to see, and you'll also be able to partake in members only posts on the community page. So welcome, Foxfire, to the membership. Appreciate that. And again, Steph Cuervo Queen, you absolute legend. You gorgeous legend. She is my queen. Yeah, I feel that what you're talking about with it's hard sometimes because for me, I try to be nice. I really do. And there's only been one time where somebody just kept on and kept on and kept on and kept on, and it finally broke me. And I just was like, you are obviously, and I'm not proud of this, but I was like, you are obviously fucking retarded. And then eventually I took that down because I was like, that's not nice, But it's hard, right? It's hard to maintain your composure when people are just at you adamantly and making it like clearly you're living rent free in their mind because they're coming out every day or every other day or once a week just to mess with you. Have you experienced that kind of thing?
Oh God, yeah, dude. It was since I started, the most common thing you'll ever hear. The go-to comment is, "You're just jealous because they have more subs than you."
Right.
That's
right.
The most common one you always. It's so ignorant.
Yeah, and it's like. For me, like, I mean, I know it isn't true anyway, but it's like I have another YouTube channel with 17,000 subscribers, like, and when someone comes at me and it's like, oh, this person, they've got 7,000 subscribers and you've only got, at the time, like 600 or whatever. It's just, they have no idea what I've been doing on YouTube and how long I've been on YouTube, maybe not with this channel, but people come at you and they try to cut deep, but most of the time it seems, what's the word? I don't want to say trivial, but it kind of falls into that. It's really just completely unimportant, Really the important thing is how you go about handling it, and they make it hard. They make it difficult.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Let me ask you this: is there anything that that you see that's claiming is paranormal that hasn't been debunked and you want to sink your talons into?
I'm sorry. What was it you said? It was something that hasn't been debunked?
Yeah. Or is there anything that, or something that you saw that was trying to pass off as paranormal? And it's something that you better, but you haven't, want to debunk, but you just haven't gotten around to it.
God, let me think. I think on a whole, I don't know how I have any specific situation on that, but I would love to. I know there's Paranormal Nightmare. There is probably a few amazing Grand Slam home run debunks sitting in their arsenal over there. It just needs to be sifted through. That's the problem. That's how I look at it. It's like there's all these gems, diamonds in the rough out there on YouTube. You just have to go find them, and that's the hard part, is you have to sit down and watch it. You can't just watch. You have to really watch, because sometimes when I think, this video, there's nothing happening, this is bullshit, and then all of a sudden, bam, oh my God, that he totally just faked that or whatever. You might catch something hardcore. So you have to really watch them. That's the problem, is having to sit through all this crap.
Yeah.
So by the time you get to the actual video, you're nice and pissy about it. But I can't think of anything offhand that I would love to figure out. I mean, just probably a few. I just can't think of any right now. But
well, that's a good answer, though. I mean, because Paranormal Nightmare, to be honest with you, people have been asking me, like, what's next? What comes after this Carmel, Maine documentary? What do you want to do? And, dude, Paranormal Nightmares, those guys are 2 hours away from me. And I've really thought, it's like, man, you think could I go and spend 3 or 4 days with those guys and kind of do the same thing? Because the thing is I believed them for a long time, and again, I think they came at it where they meant good. They had good intentions when they started, but as it is, as it goes, they find that there are key words that really stick out, such as demon, and every goddamn thumbnail is demon with Josh's face with his mouth half open, and it's just one of these things. And then there was the video, I was just talking about this with Matt Benton last night, where you see something get thrown, and on the corner of the screen or on the edge of the screen you see something pop out. It was like an editing mistake where somebody had slightly gotten into frame, and it's like, damn it, like, you know. And then of course they use the apps, and it's like follow Rocky or hate you Josh or these, you know, these things, and it's like, well, now we know how that works. We know that you can program these words in here, and of course I also feel like a lot of their residential cases, which are pretty much all of them, it almost always seems like the person that they're talking to may or may not be mentally unstable. The last one, last one that they just did with this older lady, she says in there, she says, you know, people are telling me that I need to move. Well, I can't financially do that unless this video, this thing that you're doing actually does anything. She actually flat out said that. She thinks she's going to get paid from, you know what I mean? It's like she slipped up when she said that. You know, I pay attention to a lot of that shit too. There was one, and I don't mean to ramble, but there was the Sam and Colby, the Conjuring video. It was the very last one, the very last episode of that. They had that girl who was supposed to be some sort of psychic or some sort of medium of some sort, and they had this Ouija board, and the blonde one, I think that's Sam, right? They were moving the planchette on the Ouija board, and Colby flat out says, I thought Sam was moving it on his own, so I just kind of went along with it. And it's like, you are flat out right there. You are flat out admitting we fake shit. But no one seemed to catch that, you know? And it's like, man, that's damning right there. To me, on my end of it, whereas as somebody who's a critical thinker, I thought he was moving it, so I just chose to go along with it. It's like you are openly admitting to faking or being open to faking, you know?
Right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to I just had a train of thoughts there, just one right after the other. What do you the question is, what are your future plans for your YouTube channel? So I guess if you have any, you know, where do you want to see your YouTube channel go, realistically?
Oh man, you know, I was actually talking to, I think, Josh today about that. It seems like things are kind of getting stale sometimes. Yeah. So always trying to figure out a way to keep it fresh and do something different. And it's like, there's got to be a different way of doing this where it's even more entertaining. So we're always trying to figure out what that is. Mm-hmm. I'd love to find more solid debunks. And then also, I don't know, I want to keep doing the funny stuff, but I want to expand on the second channel. I always say I want to do the second channel, but I never have enough time. But I want to do like the alien stuff, the AI stuff, you know, things outside of debunking that I want to do. Because, you know, we grew up, we always loved the pyramids and aliens and shit, you know, so all this different stuff out there. I want to do more of that stuff, but not on this channel because it doesn't really work that well on my channel. But I want to expand and kind of keep doing that stuff. But on this second channel, it sounds fun. I want to get back to doing that stuff. So
why do you feel you need to have a separate channel for that?
Because it's just because of YouTube, man. I've tried putting those videos on my channel before. People just don't want to watch them. You don't want to make a video that nobody wants to watch, because with YouTube, if you're serving tacos and all of a sudden you give them Salisbury steak, they don't give a fuck. They don't want to watch it. They want to see somebody get made fun of, be like a YouTuber faker get made fun of or debunked. They don't want to watch my view on fucking aliens. So I probably would do one, but I want to have a channel where I can just do this kind of oddity things and attract people that want to talk about that weird stuff.
Right. Yeah. And I love tacos and Salisbury steak, so
Me too.
I'm a big fan. But yeah, like I could see where you're at because it's the same thing, right? Like where I see Beardo, he plays video games on certain days, and he has people watching him do that. But I feel like if I were to do that, it just wouldn't work, you know. And I do have another channel, which is the older channel, which that's my video game channel. But it's interesting to see like some people can get away with it. Now, of course, it's not everybody, you know. Like I'll drop in here and there, but mostly when I watch Beardo, I want to watch him. I want to watch him ream somebody. You know, that's what I want to see.
Right. Yeah, you see the drop in like 50 you're watching he's playing video games compared to 300.
Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah. I totally get that. But all right, how has your perspective on the paranormal community changed over the years?
Man, I'll tell you, I'm jaded because I've seen both ends of it, you know, and there was a moment there I was kind of like over debunking because I had seen that the people that I was trying to get to were hateful, you know, like I'm just trying to show what's happening, and even when you proved it to them, they would still, well, I don't care. I like watching them, and you're a fucking asshole. And you're like, wow, you know, if you're gonna be a fucking dumbass, you deserve to watch something fake. But
right.
So you get jaded from that end, and then also from the supposedly the real paranormal end, there's a lot of stuff going on there too. So it's like, I always put these videos out, and I get all these hateful, really over the top, like, you know, oh, they're fucking kids or this and that, and you know, I know his address, you know. It's like, no, dude, I'm not into that. Like, you know, let's debunk people, have a good time, but there's a part of the debunking community that is fucking caustic, and I'm sorry, and it is, and it's a very small percentage, but they're the ones that are waiting for all the negative shit. They're just sitting there waiting to pounce, and they get in the comment section and want to dox people and go to their channel and be all hateful and like overboard. I'm not talking about just like being, you know, sarcastic or saying all they suck. That's fine. I'm talking about people that really are going overboard, personal. And it's like, I don't like that shit, man. I used to say in my videos all the time. I probably should still say it. Like, if you're gonna be, you know, if you're gonna be hateful, I delete those comments, because I don't want that creator to come on my channel and say, wow, he's gonna let that person sit there and talk about my family like that. No, I don't like that. Like, it's not that serious, people. It's not serious where you gotta bring their family into it and their kids. You know what I mean? It's like, that's disgusting. And there's a small part of the community that's like, but that's not just the debunking. It's any community. It could be fucking action heroes or Bigfoot. I've heard this too. The Bigfoot community is very caustic. So it's any community, you're gonna have a small percentage. That's the part I don't like about it, is the hateful shit I see is, but I can't let that stop me from doing this.
Right. Yeah. Well, because that's what they're after. You know, they think that if they're awful enough to you, that you'll just, you know, go away. And it's like, well, then they win ultimately. And it is interesting, right? Like when you start shattering someone's paradigm, where they've put, you know, they're a part of some community or they think they're a part of a community, and then here's this person who comes in and is like, well, look, like, no one likes to feel stupid, right?
Right.
And then instead of just owning that and being like, oh, you know what, this guy's right, this channel has fooled me. It's easier, I think, for some people, and typically the more toxic people, to turn it on to how, well, this is your fault, you know, and start bringing your family into it, or start trying to put out your address, or start trying, threatening children. What kind of fucking person does it take to threaten a child's life? You know, it's just, it's incredible, right? Like, because here you are really trying to help people, but not everybody wants the help. You know, some people are okay with being completely ignorant. They say ignorance is bliss, but I don't know. It's just one of those things that I can't wrap my head around, you know, and I've given up trying.
Maybe I'm hypocritical because I'm making these videos, you know, that are making fun of them, but I'm not going too personal though. But, you know, to me, my mindset is, if you're going to make something ridiculous, as these videos, because even if you take the debunking aspect out of it, these videos are just taking a camera and going to these locations and just acting ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's bad acting. They're trying to act like stuff's happening to make money. And to me, if you're going to do that, you deserve to. It's your open game to make fun of.
Right.
But I don't like being. I don't bring it too personal or anything like that. But that's just my mindset.
Well, with that being said, and all this kind of insight, what advice could you give to any aspiring debunkers or content creators? What would you tell them?
Do something else. I'm just kidding. Man, I don't know. Godly, make sure. I'll say one major thing, man. You don't want to say something is. I see a lot of this too, man. Say something is fake. Like, oh, that's. I mean, I guess I'm probably guilty of that too, but you gotta be careful of saying somebody's fake if you don't have the evidence to prove it. I mean, again, I'm probably hypocritical. As that last video you saw, I couldn't prove the guy didn't throw the fucking book.
Right.
But as you know, for my opinion, and a lot of others, anybody with common sense can know that's pretty apparent it's fake. But some things, I mean, maybe it's let's say a serious investigative thing, and they have a piece of evidence that happened. You want to make sure, and they have say it's a team that has a lot of respect. You don't want to say that's fake without just having some kind of proof.
Yeah.
You can say, my opinion is this might be how they're doing it. I can't prove it, but you don't want to ruin somebody. But again, too, I had a lot of conversations here recently. I made a video about fakers, and it's probably about 3 months ago. It's about, like, just because I don't like what you're using, I hate fucking apps, I hate a lot of the equipment and stuff, but just because you use it, I can't call you fake, because there's a difference. And some people really believe, like Exploring with Josh, man, I talked to him a lot. I've talked to him quite a bit, and because I pissed him off in a video I did where I was really hateful, and I really was. I admitted it, because I was just tired of this shit. It was him and Colin was saying his teeth were hurting, and the video was just dumb, okay?
Right.
And I got really pissy, and Exploring with Josh called me on the video, and I said, and me and him talked back and forth in email, and he really does believe the DR60. I have other friends that use the DR60. They fucking will totally fight me over it, and I think it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I can't call them fake because I know that they believe in that DR60, and some of them really believe, like my friend Harley. He loves, Exploring with Harley. He loves his apps.
Right.
But he loves his fucking apps. He knows I hate him. But I talked to Spotted Ghost recently. He's a cool guy. The guy that makes Spirit Talker app. He's a cool guy. I'm telling you, that guy is fucking cool. He's very smart. But I just don't believe that Ghost can talk to the fucking apps.
Right.
And it's not just his, it's any of them. But if you use it, if you're doing something that we like, the SLS, if you're using shit that we all know is not real, it doesn't work, we think doesn't work, we can't call them fake because they use it. You have to, it's the intent. Are they intentionally faking something? So you gotta be careful. If you're gonna start debunking, you have to be careful of that.
Yeah. And Sarah brought up a good point here in the chat. Don't do a YouTube channel because you're after money. Do it because you love the subject.
Oh yeah.
And also, stay tuned. The legend, Stay Tuned CC, gifted a GhostQuest membership to Giselle Labonte.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. And again, Giselle, you have access to members only perks now. There's emojis you can use and all kinds of cool stuff. So thank you, Stay Tuned, for that gifted membership. All right. Well, how do you see what we do, the paranormal debunking? How do you see that evolving? Or do you see it evolving?
Oh, like actual paranormal teams?
No, what we do, the field of paranormal debunking.
Sorry.
Yeah, how do you see that evolving?
Oh, man, it needs to get more. Oh, I'd say too, on the investigating side, it needs to become, I hate using the word scientific, but you know what I mean? It needs to get more technical.
Yeah.
I'd like to learn how to use more programs. I'll change the color filter sometimes. Different editing things I'll do to try to see things more clearly, but I'd like to learn how to debunk better.
Yeah.
And learn how to do more technical things. But God, it's a good question. I just wish we could learn how to find better debunks from people we haven't done before. Like,
right.
I know that it's hard to step out sometimes you don't want to go, if you do a video on some unknown team, it's probably not gonna get a lot of views. And it might not be an exciting video because there's not much going on. But we need to start doing teams that never been done before. And Jaska's been done to death. We got to put Jaska to bed. Like, we know he's fake. He's been fake. I know it makes a good video and it's entertaining, but we got to start doing other teams, even if it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I feel that. That's pretty good. I mean, it's always like you're saying, like, find other people, even if they are small, like, because if you get ahead of it, if you nip it in the bud, as it were, then the chances of that person, because for me, I think I'm all about people making a living on YouTube. I don't have a problem with that.
Yes, they're right. Yeah,
exactly. But if you're gonna do it and you're gonna fake things, you've got to be open about that and just say, look, like, this is for fun, or don't be going to people's houses, or like what Kent Burris did, where he went to David Sear and I'm talking to your dead cousin, and then the next week have him out digging holes looking for parts of his dead cousin. That's insane.
That's cruel, man. Yeah, that's about as bad as you can get right there.
Yeah, it's absolutely awful. But yeah. Well, I think we're at the point where we're at the last hour before Crow has to go, so I figured we'd take the last hour to finally do our questions and call-ins. What we'll do is, if you choose to come on stage with us, we're going to do it one at a time. And of course, you don't have to. This is just an option. If you would like, you can come up here and you can ask a question, or you can ask it in the chat. If you do come on, you'll be given a maximum of 60 seconds to ask your question, and then you can choose to sit in the stream while he answers, or you can leave the stage right after you ask the question and listen to his answer on the stream. If you do choose to stay on while he answers, I ask that you promptly leave the stage after he's answered. Just because in order to answer as many questions as possible, I need to keep the stage going for the next caller as soon as possible so that no one's waiting for too long. If you would like to do that, let me know, and I can find a way to give you the link. I was thinking about just posting it at the top, but my better judgment is saying that's probably not the best way to go about it. So, yeah.
Maybe we can roll the dice,
I know, right? I kind of want to, but at the same time, it's like, do I? But yeah, so questions, it is open for questions now. And also, real quick, let me spout off who's participating. We've got Anita Drake, Barbara, Blueberry329, Cynthia Bossy still here, Fantastic Publishing, Giselle Labonte, Hair Force One, Mike O Minerals, Paranormal Rooster. It's a new name. I haven't seen that one in here before. At least I don't recall. Rochelle is Canadian, Ruby Moon, Stay Tuned CC, Steph Cuervo Queen, and Teshi, which I believe Teshi just said goodbye. So, maybe he didn't, or maybe it was Cynthia. I don't know. Someone left. We've got Cynthia says, okay, hey, Jimmy and Crow, it's been great, but I got a dinner date. Ooh, with my best friend. Okay. And I volunteered to cook, so I've got to go. Well, good luck with your, I don't know why I wished you luck. I'm sure you can cook just fine. Joe Vitale's still here. Wayne Dawson is still here. Sorry. I think after like X amount of seconds, if you aren't saying anything, it doesn't tell me that you're still here. So I apologize if I missed anybody. Cynthia's making a steak, baked potato, and sauteed mushroom, onions, and bell peppers. That sounds phenomenal. I'm coming over.
Oh, man.
Foxfire did leave. Anybody got some questions for us? Is there anybody that wants to come in? Anybody?
Don't be shy. You don't have to be on camera.
Yeah.
You can just...
Yeah, you can do like Crow. You can just use your voice if that's what you want to do. Janice Crammond is still here lurking. Paranormal Rooster says he has a question for Crow. Do you want to ask here or do you want to come on?
Long time listener, first time caller.
Yeah, it was when it came to Art Bell and doing the calls, man. I could listen to all of them. I had a hard time with like where it was just all callers.
Oh yeah.
I go ahead.
You like unsolved? Remember Unsolved Mysteries, man? I love.
Oh yeah.
I still watch. You got the Pluto app on Roku.
Uh-huh.
Pluto's free, and they have a channel called Unsolved Mysteries, and it plays Unsolved Mysteries 24/7.
Oh, that's
old
awesome.
School Robert Stack, and I can turn that on all the time, just have it play in the background. I love it.
Yeah. Looks like Paranormal Rooster's going to ask it here. So who wins, a Viking rooster or a crow?
Damn, man. God, that's a good one, man. Viking Rooster sounds pretty tough. I might have to go with the Viking Rooster on that one.
Yeah, right. Teshi asks, have you guys watched the new Seg video, and what are your thoughts on the new types of investigations the scientist is doing? I watched what I could, but I did fall asleep watching it. Not that it was boring. I was just dead tired. But I need to watch it again to give you an accurate answer. Crow, did you watch it?
No, I did not, man. I heard about what was going on with it. I wish scientists would do more with that's the thing too, because I know scientists probably look at what we're doing as silly, but because
yeah,
even people say, "Oh, we're doing it scientifically." No, you're not, dude. I'm telling you, we're not doing it scientifically. Yeah. They look at it and fucking laugh because so we're very far from scientific. I would rather go down the more scientific route. And people kill me. It kills me, guys. And I notice people, you can't go to a place. Well, I went there and nothing happened to me. Well, yeah, you went there for fucking 8.5 hours. And you expect a ghost to pop out in case you need to go somewhere. Lots of times, or 2 weeks straight, or a month, or a whole year. It's an See, the people use the term investigation lightly. If you're going to investigate something, you have to investigate it. If you're gonna just go to a house and walk around and laugh, and like that's not an investigation. They walk around their cat balls and the fucking. No disrespect to use cat balls. I'm just saying, if you're gonna call yourself an investigator, you got your Spirit Talker app, you got your cat balls, you got one camera. That is not a fucking investigation.
Right.
That is a YouTube video.
Yeah.
And if you want to call it an investigation, you really got to step your game up. And if something goes off, figure out what makes it go off. Why did it go off?
Yeah.
Come back multiple times. It's.
Yeah. Well, it's well. I mean, no. You're fine. I didn't mean to interrupt. Devil's Hour Productions, Matt Benton. And when you were talking about when you were saying, "Oh, it's not scientific," the first thing that popped into my head, I know what he's been doing. Just because he was kind enough to share it with me, and he says that he's got some big experiments coming up in the future that will be in the scientific field, and I agree because I've seen what it is. I'm not going to say what it is because, but it is.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's super dope.
If you can get a hold of this stuff, it'd be really cool. The thing is, if you're using it, you have to use it if you're going to go by the scientific method, man. But I mean, if he can get a hold of that stuff, that'd be freaking crazy. I'd be curious. I picture him in some machine pulsating. Glowing green.
Steph Cuervo Queen says she's still waiting for the Mythos and Crow wrestling naked Mythos threw in there.
Oh my god. Little corn dog action.
Corn dogs everywhere.
Mythos would definitely win that match.
You think so?
Hell yeah. He actually does MMA and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. I've just kind of recently learned about that guy, and I've watched a few of his videos, and I really like what he does too. You know, and actually the fact that he popped in earlier, I feel very blessed for that because yeah, super cool guy.
yes.
Does Crow find it more competitive now that there are more debunkers on YouTube? Or is it
Yes.
even a but is it a competition? You know what I mean? Like, is
No,
it? Because
I,
I don't feel that way.
no, I would say if I'm going to sit here and say that debunkers don't look at each other as competition, I don't know, man. I don't look at. I think of course, we look at each other's channels. Possibly, I'd be competitive, but I don't look at. If I didn't know my friends, I would be competitive. But since I know them, it's like I have brothers in this whole thing now.
Right.
So, is it competitive? Is it competitive? Yeah. Well, I'd say as far as the question goes, yes, because before there was only a few. Now there's like a lot. So now you're kind of compete. You're trying to. Yeah, you are kind of competing to get. You got to set yourself apart now. Before it was me and Shapen first. Then it was me, Shapen, Mr. Gray. Then it was Rick C. Books was around for a while, and then there's quite a few in the background that I'm even gonna get talked about anymore. But yeah, it's more competitive because now you have to set yourself apart. You got to do something that makes yourself different to stand out from the crowd. And we all have our own thing, and that's what's cool. You can go to Mr. Gray for this. You can go for Purple for that. Well, you know, Purple doesn't even do it anymore. But
Yeah.
yeah, as far as it definitely affects us when you have more people out there. So you gotta step your game up for sure.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I don't think you have anything to worry about as far as being different than everybody else. I think you're you fit that bill pretty well. Hair Force One says MMA is that man on man action, and if I bet, well, that he probably looks at that as an invite, like he's ready for that. He wants some man
Oh
on man
yeah.
action himself. Uh, let's see here. Just looking for another question to ask. What we got here? I know somebody asked some stuff kind of at the beginning because they got in a little late and didn't hear the proposition, but I can't go back that far. It's too bad. But if they're still around and they didn't get their question answered earlier, feel free to ask it again. And I think just to keep your mind and my mind firing on all cylinders, I think we're going to take about a 5-minute break here in a little bit.
Okay, no.
And then we'll come back to it, and maybe there'll be some more questions. Jaya gifted 1 GhostQuest membership. Absolute goddamn gorgeous legend. We got more people as a member now. We got Wisdom, finally a member, and Wisdom is fantastic. Debunk the Junk. Glad to see that you're here. I love it when junk gets debunked, to be honest with you.
He's got a cool channel, man. I've watched a couple of his videos. He's got his own thing going. He's got a parody type channel, but yeah, it's really good.
Right. Yeah, I've been hanging out over there every now and then and taking a look at what he's going on or what he's got going on, and he's definitely an interesting guy. I like the way he thinks about things. I'm not seeing any more questions right now, so let's go ahead and just take our break. Don't forget to mute your mic. And
Okay.
yeah, and then you'll see me. I mean, obviously you're backstage, so you'll see when I'm back sitting down, and we'll get back to it. Oh wait, one more question here.
Okay.
From Hair Force. Question: how come everybody has not hit the like button yet? That is a wonderful question to be asking. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, y'all, for hanging out with us while we do this. This is phenomenal. We've got the unshameful Crow of Judas hanging out with us tonight, and we will be back.
Okay, cool. Okay, dope.
We're back. A little bit longer than 5 minutes, I think, but not too much longer. Did we come up with some questions, people? Did you guys do your homework? What do we got going on? Is there anybody new in the chat yet? Let's see.
Probably being very naughty in chat. I'll just
Faith
say.
Burris, Jolene, Wayne Dawson. I see he was here. Little Sky Talker is in here. Isn't she wonderful? I mean, they're all wonderful, but I see Sky all over the place. She always calls me her cousin. Amy Wank. I love that name. Let's see here. Nocturnal Frequency Radio is hanging out with us. How you doing, Steve?
Sweet.
Yeah, when Teshy's back, or I don't know if Teshy ever left. I don't even know what's happening anymore. Let's see here. What we got here? We all are. You left us. I didn't mean to. We just had to take a little break for a little bit of time. Let me think of something. Because I asked all the questions that I had thought of, but
That's cool.
I'm just curious. I guess. I mean, shit. I'm thinking like, what did you? Let's go back to your music. What did you? When did you realize that music was something that you wanted to do? Thank you, Boo.
My dad was a musician, and I kind of followed in his footsteps. But yeah, just as soon as I got drumsticks in my hands, it was over. You know, I was mimicking everything and playing everything I saw on TV and everything, and playing my dad's band and stuff. So I started really early, but yeah, I just couldn't wait to get my own drum set and join school band. And yeah, I was addicted, man.
Was there like a band or something that you were like, oh yeah, that's what I want to do, or anything like that? Like, was there anything?
Man. Yeah, there was this. Well, I'll say as much. Bon Jovi.
Nice.
I had the Slippery When Wet album. I had all the fucking albums, and I was hooked on Bon Jovi. And I was that's when I was 10 years old, guys. Okay, 10 years old, playing drums, to Bon Jovi. But then when Metallica hit, I didn't get to Metallica after the Black album came out. That's when I heard Enter Sandman. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Right.
And I saw him play live on the MTV Music Awards, and I just became obsessed with Lars Ulrich and his big tom and drums.
Yeah,
and
with the black rims and the black lugs and
yep.
Yeah,
so,
the black hardware.
That changed my. I mean, literally, I changed my haircut to be like the bass player Jason Newsted.
Yeah.
I got my black bottom head just like Laura. I mean, I went full on Metallica mode. It actually helped me though, because that time I was not confident.
That's amazing, dude. What you're saying is like my exact story. I'm telling you the truth, because see, like I did the same thing. Like Lars inspired the shit out of me, right? And so what did I do? I went and bought a Tama Imperial Star from the 80s.
Wow.
With 24-inch kicks, two 24-inch kicks.
No.
I had an 18-inch fucking floor tom. My biggest ride tom was like, I want to say it was 14 inches maybe. And they're deep. They were huge drums because they were concert toms, like from the 80s. So it was like this huge thing. And Lars was like, and Lars helped me with my confidence too. Once I realized that I could play the songs like Lars Ulrich, like if Metallica needed a drummer, they could have called me and I could have done it when I was like 18, 19 years old. Like I knew those songs. So it's really interesting to me to hear you say that, because it's like you have the same origin story, as for that's fucking phenomenal. How cool is that?
And then that we told you, Seth, like you're an old friend I met,
Right.
But you said it's funny. I ended up getting an old Tom and kit. I'm not sure what series it was. I think it was late 70s. It had these huge toms, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 18. I had a 16-inch tom on my bass drum. That's the same as Lars had. I even went out and bought the same cymbals as him for like $2,000.
Same thing. Yep. Bought Z's. Bought Zildjian Z's. Yep.
And I was but that is funny because I always struggled with my hair. My whole life, I had struggled with my haircut. I had the flat top. I had like the spikes. I had everything. But Jason Newsted, I got his haircut, and I was like, it fit me perfectly. I was like, I finally found my haircut. I wore Metallica shirts every day. It was like my life. So that kind of shot me in that direction,
Yeah. Candy 7 asks the ultimate question, which is the question that I put out there: why do ghosts wear clothes? Yeah. Well, I have my theories, which I've discussed with people before. I've discussed on that. But Faith Burris asked what first got me into the paranormal. I've just always been drawn to it. I've had some things happen, but when I was a kid, going back to Unsolved Mysteries, those were my favorite episodes, you know. And I hate reenactments, but what was cool about Unsolved Mysteries is, of course, you've got Robert Stack narrating, right? And then they'd do their reenactments, but then they would give you the actual evidence, like the real legit evidence that this story was about. And I was just always drawn to that. I remember one where there was like this weird thing in the sky, and the audio of the camera captured this really strange, what sounded like language. Probably fake, but I remember it stuck with me my whole life. I guess I've just always been intrigued by that kind of thing. I don't know. I've always enjoyed scary stuff. My father and I would watch the old Universal monster movies together, old black and white films, and I was fortunate enough to have a father that gave me an appreciation for things that were spooky, and also, just because it's old doesn't mean it's bad, and I was just fortunate to have that kind of influence around me, I guess. And then, of course, once all the shows started happening, I started really being like, man, I could do something like that. And then I put myself out there, but no one was really responding, because you have to really trust the people that are on your team. And here I am, just some guy being like, I can do audio shit for you. It doesn't really work. So I just figured if I was ever going to do it, I'm going to have to do it myself. And it was something it was like a bucket list thing. Not that I'm going to die anytime soon, but it was just like, I want to do this before I can't,
Yeah, true.
Let's see here. What we got out here? Where did that go? I hate that. Shit just jumps. Where'd that go?
Oh, yeah. No, you're not bad.
If Jimmy and Crow were to collaborate, hypothetically, what direction would you take? I'm glad you're asking that, because a little bit ago you were talking about keeping it fresh. Things get stale. And it was like, what if you and I teamed up on something and debunked something? Like, let's just pick a video and fucking go after it. What would you want to do that?
That'd be awesome. I was just talking about that recently too, as well. I was somebody, I don't know who it was, but yeah, we used to do more collabs, and people love seeing people collab together because it's just something different. So I think it'd be really fun, man. I haven't done that in quite a while, actually.
Yeah, I'd be totally into doing that. We've got some gifted here from Toy Tycoon Shop, my good friend. Gifted 5 GhostQuest memberships. Those go to Nocturnal Frequency Radio, Jay Smith, Roni Simon, Tash Lane, and Roni. You all awesome. Now have membership only perks. You know what they are if you've been here. We've got emojis that you can use now, and a couple of extra videos you can check out. Thank you so much, you fucking legend, you. I think I don't really have anything in particular that I'd debunk, but man, if we put our heads together, I'm sure we'd come up with something special.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man.
Steph Cuervo Queen's asking, if you died and you were sent back and you could possess any musician over any time, who would you be? The first thought was Paul Stanley. Like, to me, that dude is the epitome of a rock star. Like, just the way he is. He played the coolest goddamn guitars. He's the front man of one of the biggest industry. I mean, it's an industry. It's yeah. You know what I mean? Kiss is this totally different thing now from where it started. I think that'd be fun. That'd
be a fun one. That'd be a really fun one right there.
What about you?
Damn, these are always. I'm a very indecisive person. You tell me which one you want, red or green. I'm gonna sit there and go, and pick each, and I'll keep changing my mind before I finally get forced to do something. I'm Elvis, man.
Elvis.
Possibly,
yeah, that's a good answer. Yeah, that's a great answer. I think the best love song ever written is Oh, God damn it.
Moody Blues?
No. God damn it, which one is it? I can't remember. Fucking, hold on. What's the fucking Elvis song that's like badass love song? I Can't Help Falling in Love with You.
Oh,
yeah.
Man, yeah.
Isn't that one's like, to me, that's the perfect, absolute best love song ever written. I couldn't think of what it was called. And it's the name, it's the chorus.
He was just a special. I grew up with Elvis in my household, and he just, even when you watch him, look back on his, he was just a special. He was special. The guy was
absolutely
unbelievable. And
absolutely.
I know going back, if you weren't around it much, it's probably cheesy and stuff, but because I know the music was quite different back then. But man, I still watch him time to time, especially his live stuff.
Yeah, totally. I always change lyrics to songs. And one thing that I like to do is I'll usually replace the word you with dudes. So that becomes I Can't Help Falling in Love with Dudes. and if you sing it so emotionally, it really has a wonderful effect. But let's see here. We got any other questions going on? Someone at Air Force says Ozzy Osbourne. That would be cool. I bet he doesn't remember most of his life, though.
I was going to say, I was not an Ozzy fan. I was Metallica. I did not like Ozzy back then. When I was a kid, I did not like him. Until I got older, and I was like, oh my God. So I went back and listened to like No More Tears album and started there. But, that he is amazing, man. That guy. Just even the No More Tears album itself, just take that one. I'm listening to him. This is just unbelievable how well this album is written and performed, and he's got a great range too.
Right.
I was trying to redo an Ozzy song. I forgot which one it was, and I'm like, oh yeah, that one with Lita Ford.
Oh yeah.
That
close your eyes forever.
God
close
damn,
my
man,
eyes forever.
he fucking sings. He gets high.
Yeah. I'm
like,
I was just listening to that the other day. No, he's really. I didn't think I liked him, and then because I had a Black Sabbath album, it was Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, but I got it from it was like a bootleg, so it didn't have any liner notes on it, so I didn't realize that Ozzy was the singer, and I thought that I didn't like Ozzy. I don't know why. I just, I'm a kid. I'm being dumb. Yeah. And then my cousin was like, oh, you're listening to Ozzy? I was like, no, I'm listening to Black Sabbath. And he's like, well, that's the singer of Black Sabbath. I'm like, really? And then Osmosis had just come out, and I was over at a Target. And this is back when, the tube TVs are all lined up, and they're playing music videos on these tube TVs. And the Perry Mason video came on, and I could tell it was Ozzy. And I went over and I watched this thing, and that was ultimately where I fell in love with him.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
And then my first album that I bought was a $5 out of the $5 bin. It was the remaster of No Rest for the Wicked, which had Crazy Babies and Miracle Man and Fire in the Sky and a lot of songs that kind of get overlooked. But that was Zakk Wylde's first album, which he was 17 in that band. Dude. Yeah. You think about that, and when you listen to it, it's just, it is crazy. Especially, I was also thinking about this the other day, so Ozzy came from Sabbath, right? So there was Tony Iommi and Geezer Butler and then Bill Ward, and then Ozzy's the frontman. So, but you had a guitar player, a bass player, and a drummer. And he kept that format. He never did have two guitar players, even when he was just Ozzy Osbourne. He had the one phenomenal guitar player every time. So you had Randy, and then you had Jakey Lee, which... I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I still think that Jakey Lee's a better guitar player than Randy Rhoads. Bark at the Moon is phenomenal. I'm not taking anything away from Randy, but I think Jake gets overlooked a lot.
Right, yeah.
He was in Bark at the Moon, and then he did, what was it, The Ultimate Sin. That's a great album.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, and then of course, Zakk came in, and that really changed Ozzy's sound. But yet, it was still one guitar player, one bass player, and one drummer, and that's how he plays live. It's just. But when you listen to the album, I mean, obviously there's a rhythm part to the guitar, and then the lead comes in over it. But I've seen Ozzy a lot because I went to Ozfest every year for a while, and man, like they fucking nail it. It's just such a good lineup. Faith Burris, she asks, where do you fall on the skeptic believer scale? I imagine she's asking me. Well, I believe that paranormal activity is real. I've captured it, in my documentaries. I've captured what I believe to be legit. But, there's more fake than there is real. And I think, I don't know why I'm taking it upon myself to hassle with calling out fake, other than it just irritates the shit out of me, because people are out there making a living off of lies, and it just, I don't know. There's something about that doesn't sit right. And again, when you start messing with people's emotions and stuff that people have put to bed, and you have someone coming around drudging it up, I just can't with that. Real quick, Jaya gifted a GhostQuest membership to Dr. Deb. So Dr. Deb is now a member. Look at all these memberships coming in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'll just say, Tessie had a question too, and also...
Okay. I see it. I see the one from Tessie. If you could eliminate one of the bogus devices from ghost hunting, what would it be? You go ahead. You go first on that one.
God dang it, man. That's probably apps. I mean, I don't like the fucking REM pod shit either, but it's not as annoying as, I don't know, man. The REM pod's pretty fucking annoying to me.
Yeah.
Just because it's all false positives.
Right.
And I don't think it's talking to ghosts. But anyway, I'll probably lock me with apps, because it's just, you know what about apps I don't like is when they turn their app on, and anything that says they have that question voice, like, spirit, it says spirit, are you a spirit? And then it says door, like door, are you behind a door? It's like, that right there literally makes me want to say fuck you all. I fucking hate you motherfuckers. like I want to just lose my mind, because I'm so sick of hearing that questioning. Like, you're not talking to a ghost, you fucking moron. Okay?
Right.
You hear my hate coming out now. I can hear my fucking hate coming out. I really hate that fucking shit. It's because it's not just the app, it's just how they do it. It's always that question tone, and they all do it. And they try to, and they connect the dots. I even put the Pee Wee Herman clip in there, like, connect the dots, la 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 la, because it's like, it says, oh, music, oh, piano. Earlier we saw that piano, remember? And we did this, and they connected all. Like, you are fucking morons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, sorry.
No, you're fine. That's what it's about. Feel those emotions, man. That's the thing about it, right? Like, I see the same thing where it's like they're just mashing it into what, anything that they want it to be, and that's not research. That's just fucking foolishness. Rob's asking, when's Crow gonna go live again? His live streams are great.
Well, thank you. It might be that, I'm not sure, man. I'm on the very last minute, because it depends on how I feel. I don't have a schedule, so maybe tonight or tomorrow. Yeah. It's just kind of willy-nilly, right? Yeah, it just depends, because I have to be in the mood to do it. If I force it, it won't be good for anybody. Yeah. Then I'm awkward. Yeah, I hear that. Sometimes, though, it's like, oh, I don't know if I'm in the mood, and then you do it, and it's just like, oh, this is great, like. Totally. I have a bunch of those, man. Ruby Moon asks, do you think if genuine research, including development of devices, effective equipment, went into the paranormal with standards and perimeters, like scientific standards, would it be taken seriously? It's going to take a while, I think. Personally, I think it's going to take a lot more than just... I mean, devices are going to help, I guess, if they're actually scientific. But I don't know if it will ever get past being looked down upon. Now, again, 20 years ago, and when I was in high school, UFOs, there was an interest, obviously, but you were way more kooky if you brought something like that up, whereas today, it's pretty much accepted. So who knows? Who knows where it could go? And also, it can be a cool piece of equipment, but it depends on who is you. It could not be most of these people you see now. It needs to be somebody that's
We can't be having CJ
scientific-minded.
Faison out there doing it.
No, and it has to be in a controlled environment. Even I was talking to Kenny Bell about this, like, because that's what the EVPs are, the real EVPs, like the ones you cannot explain, you know. And he's like, but where was that at though? Is it in the house? Right? I'm like, yeah. Well, the houses aren't perfect. You can hear things outside. It has to be in a controlled environment. So, like, from a scientific point of view, somebody in a house going, "Oh, this is a scientific piece of an instrument," you know. When you're sitting in a house that has 1,000 different sounds, like it has to be in a controlled bubble, basically. So it'll probably never get to that fucking point. I think if anything, so I'll say this quick, if we can prove spirits or something's out there, if it's interdimensional, it'll be through quantum physics.
Right. Which is we will see where quantum physics is going in our lifetime. We're already starting to see the beginning of it now, and that's something that really intrigues me because I don't understand it. But I want to. You know, it's like, wow, this is amazing. They've already quantum computers, which I don't know how many there are. Not very many, I'm sure. But listening to that, what's his name? Michu, the really smart Japanese guy. Yeah. The dude that built a fucking particle accelerator in his garage when he was 16 years old. Like, like listen to that dude. You know, like he's got some very interesting things to say about quantum.
He's awesome.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Rochelle's Canadian. Going back to people asking stupid questions. Are you a demon? Like, I agree that's one of the stupidest questions ever, because if it's a demon, the demon isn't going to be like, I sure am. You know, it's there to deceive you. It's so silly. Dybbuk, are you here?
Oh, Jesus.
Let's see here. Yeah. Air Force One, do you think paranormal investigators should go back to old school equipment that is harder to edit, like VHS and cassette tapes? I love that question. One of my experiments that I wanted to do when I went to Maine was to bring an old VHS camcorder in hopes that if I were to capture a shadow on it as well as a digital camera, that would be a little harder to explain. But then again, someone's always going to refute those things. You know what I mean?
And the problem is, I would say the number one problem with that is the VHS, the quality is so shit.
Yeah.
Too, but there is something to be said for analog, you know?
Totally.
It's an actual an analog versus digital. I like that argument of like going old school and using a tape recorder versus a digital recorder kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Nocturnal Frequency Radio, it was Julie, who gave you that membership.
Somebody said that Blueberry, or who was it that had a good question?
Look. I don't know. Not seeing it now. Yeah, always put Q in front of your question. That'll help me locate it. Blueberry, if you did have a question, go ahead and ask it again, because I can't find it. Seen 5 UFOs or UAPs in my life from up in Maine, Massachusetts, and Virginia, says Sir Spookfest. Welcome back, Sir Spook. Is it Sir or Senior? Spookfest, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. Been missing you, man. Yeah, the VHS thing, there's a charm to it for me. Like you said, there's something to be said about analog. Yeah, I appreciate that kind of thing more so, I think. Nexpo does a lot of stuff with old school VHS cameras. That's how he gets his to look. Them. Dude, Nexpo's so good. Nexpo's one of my favorites. He really is.
Yep.
It's unfortunate that he got wrapped up with all that Mama Max stuff that was going on. Because I could tell he wasn't out to pull one over on anybody, you know.
If you ask a question, go ahead and rewrite it, because there's a couple I think I missed.
Yeah. Rochelle's Canadian's asking, do you think the original Ovilus that cannot be manipulated or programmed can be the only decent ghost device?
It actually can be. It can be. It's the original Ovilus. You can actually add words to it, and it still has its flaws. It's still affected by certain devices. It's literally just a glorified standalone app.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Well, I like that she asked that because in the documentary in episode 2, Kent has one that says Jimmy, and there is a VGA port on there, and the way he explained it was that the VGA port was meant to be connected to your computer and that it would create a notepad file for you, and it would tell you all the words. Now, I asked him to do that for me, and he said he would, but he never did. So I guess there's a hole in that. It was weird, though, because like when we put it into, I think it was reverse phonetic mode, it was saying help. And it's like, well, that's fucking weird. If it's in the reverse mode, it should be different. I'm kind of on the fence. Sure.
Let me ask you, was this his Ovilus?
Yeah, and it wasn't an app. It was his own personal thing.
Right. Well, because with Ovilus, you can add words. Like
It was called a spirit talker, is what it was called. It wasn't like it wasn't
Ovilus. Okay, my bad.
It was that kind of device, but it was called the Spirit Talk or something like that. That was what it. And I can't find it online. I can't find anywhere to buy it.
Was it in a box, like a standalone thing?
Yeah, it was like its own piece of equipment. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, well, and that's why I think that's why to me I'm like, is that for real? It's something that was at least interesting. Now, could he have manipulated it? Absolutely, because I've caught him in other shit.
Okay, see, you have. Okay, so right there. If you caught him in other stuff,
right?
So you're talking about Kent, right?
Yeah, Kent.
Oh shit! Oh yeah, I was gonna say I would, because I've seen this firsthand, and I can't prove it, but I know that like Paranormal Nightmare, they were at this location, and their fucking their app said, it was the ghost tube. It said the name of the house, and it's a weird name. I forgot the name of it now. And there's no way in hell that house name was in the original word bank, because the word bank is going to be a very standard thing, like graves, spirits, like right. John, Bobby, Sarah, common names. There was no way it would say this. I'm guarantee you, they put that fucking word in that.
I think I know what you're talking. You're talking about Paranormal Nightmare, right?
Right.
Was it? Yeah. Also, and what it was with the Paranormal Nightmare one, it was the name of the street that they used to live on, where their house was haunted. Is that the one that you're talking about?
No, yeah. This is it said the name of the house, and I'm like, that's. Well, it also says haunted hotel. They have this thing called the Alice box, and it's popular in the UK. It's a standalone recorder. Like it's a standalone, like kind of like Ovilus. And it started saying all the names, and it was like those two guests one night, just two guests, and it said both their names. And I'm like, I've been trying. If anybody knows they can find the actual original word list to the Alice box, I would love to have that, because it eventually says all the cook's name and the waiter's name that works there. It like says all the staff's names, and I'm like, I can guarantee you, because in the Alice box, I do know you can add words. They 100% added those words to those boxes. But now again, if it's not added, common names like Michael, Sarah, hell, Joe, we were fucking around the Spirit Talker one night, and Joe had it in his hand, and it said Joe.
Right.
Now, do I go, oh my God, you know what? No, I don't. If it said Nathaniel, okay, then maybe we'll have something.
Right.
If it said like some kind of weird, unusual name, but when you have a device that says 800 words in an investigation, you're going to have a few that are going to seem kind of relevant. It's just like a casino. Every once in a while, you're going to pull that lever, and you're going to have all cherries. And that's what I chalk it up to.
Ruby Moon asks, what do you guys think about tulpas? Do you think they're possible? I'm super fascinated by it, the overlap in psychology, and what we still haven't discovered about the human brain or mind. I have no idea what you're talking about. Do you, Crow? Do you know what she's on about?
What was the word?
Tulpas. Tulpas. Yeah, do you know what that is?
No, No, I sure don't.
I don't either. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, yeah, I feel bad because I don't know what that is. Let's see here. Sky says she's out. I'm sure she's gone by now, but thanks for dropping in, Sky. Appreciate you. Air Force One, question. Do you guys believe that feedback is the ghost of Hendrix?
100%.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. Let's see. Anybody else? So we're getting into our last couple of minutes here where Crow's going to have to depart. So if I don't see any more questions, I'm just going to go ahead and let him go do what he's doing. If you got any more questions, we'll give you a little bit of time here to throw them up. Otherwise, I'm going to say goodbye.
Fun, though, man. I really appreciate you doing it. This is fun. I've never been interviewed like that. I think I did a couple a long time ago, but this is this is a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, I love it, man.
So
I love having interesting people.
I'm not good. Honestly, I'm not good at a lot of questions. My mind just kind of goes blank sometimes. So all I can do is just answer them to my best ability.
No, you did great. You did great, man. And again, it's one of these things where I don't see a lot of people doing it this way. I'm not saying that I'm the first, but I don't see people doing it the way I'm doing it. And I wanted to bring something new to the viewers this time because, we all like the hangouts, but I think you're an interesting person, and I think your insight on obviously now knowing that you do believe and that you've had some things happen, that makes it a little bit more interesting to me. That I just find it more well-rounded when it's somebody like you who. You're not doing it to hurt anybody. You're not doing it because you're toxic. You're not doing it for any of those reasons. You're doing it because you're sick and fucking tired of the bullshit, just like me, and it's too bad. Jimmy, would you wrestle a demon? I did, and then we had a baby. Yeah, but he's the best baby in the world. I love him so much.
His name was Damien. I just want to mention the spirit box. I want to say, man, I've tried with the spirit box, but I've come, because I started off hating it, and I had a friend that used it, and it got me really, really what, this could be real. I'm so done officially done with the spirit box. I'm done with it. I bought one. I just do not. Same with the app. I don't believe that spirits can talk to everybody on radio. I just don't believe it, and it's really us sitting around hearing these little bits and bobs of words, because what it is, these words are you're hearing words that are cut off. So when it switches channels, you're hearing half of a word, and it combines with another half of a word. So you might hear a fucker or something like that, or something that sounds like your name. And we're sitting there going, it's like a game. Let's turn this radio on and change the channels and see what kind of words you can get, because it's really it's not a two-way thing. And I'll say this much too. We did this. We had spirit box guys. Remember back in the day, in the 80s, man? We were in our mom's car, and we're flipping through the fucking radio dial as fast as we can. We were talking to fucking ghosts and didn't even fucking realize it, man.
Right.
We were talking to ghosts. Oh my god! Oh, it said fucking Brian. No, it didn't. It's a fucking. If somebody goes, "Hey, do you hear this? Did you hear this spirit box thing? It said this." Well, yeah, of course, it's a stereo. It does. It's doing what a stereo does. It's playing. It's playing. Channels from a radio. You're gonna hear. What are you gonna hear through the radio, man? You're gonna hear words.
I wonder if we could take a portable television and manipulate it to do what a spirit box does, and then that way, when something comes through, you can see that it was a channel. I wonder why hasn't that been invented yet?
I wonder. Yeah, that's a good. It had to be. Yeah, you're just. It's kind of the same thing.
Totally.
Cassie, real quick. I bought the spirit box. Okay, and I put it on slow mode. I had to go to my mixer on the live stream. I had it on slow as it could go mode, and somebody said, "You're not. It's not going fast enough." It's that's the problem. When it's in slow mode, you can hear the 95.5. You can hear Bruce Springsteen. But then you turn it up, you don't hear as much. Why? Because you're flipping through it faster. It doesn't mean you're hearing the ghost better. You're just hearing bits and bobs of the actual radio stations. It doesn't mean like, oh, turn it up faster, that's where the spirits will come through. I'm sorry.
Right.
That's absolute bullshit. And I know I have friends that use the Estes method and stuff like that, but we're literally sitting around with fucking pareidolia our ass off, going, oh, I heard this. Well, you heard Brian? Well, you know what? I have a friend named Brian. Oh, come on, man. I think it's time to put the spirit box to bed, people. And I've heard some cool, Matt Bent was showing some cool spirit box catches, but again, if you've been researching for 10 years and all you can show me is like 5 cool results, how many hours of spirit box did you sit through to get that one time where it said this right when you were looking at that? Now there is some cool responses.
Yeah,
but
I've had one.
I have too. I've actually, that's why I sort of believe in spirit boxes again, because I'm like, that was really cool. But at the end of the day, it's Occam's razors all day long, man. Yeah. Is it ghost or are we fucking David Sear, man? My fucking boy David Sear.
Mm-hmm.
I actually reviewed his video he did where he was using a spirit box. I don't know if he's watching or not. He was reviewing a spirit box and he heard a kid's voice. He goes, oh man, there's a kid's voice. And he went back into the dial and he found a channel that had a skit playing. It kept on coming back, and I hear.
Oh, I kind of lost you, brother. I've lost you. Wonder what's going on there. This internet must be acting up, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully that pulls through in the next couple of minutes. Blueberry says that she saw something like the TV thing that I was talking about. That's cool. I'd like to see it. I think that would, like, just why hasn't that, why isn't that more popular anyway?
I'm just.
Oh, there you are. There you go.
I don't even know where I was at. I'm sorry, guys. I was ranting.
No, you're all right.
I was talking about David Sear.
Yeah.
He found the kid voice.
Yep.
He singled it out and proved that it was an actual skit on a channel, but most people would go, oh, I'm hearing a kid's voice. So it's just not, if you want to be scientific about things, I don't think using a radio is the best way to go about it.
Yeah. Sky Talker is off into the winter.
Sky.
Yeah, take it easy, Sky. Thanks for dropping in. All right, brother. Well, it is 7:30, and
guys,
I don't want to keep you.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. I appreciate you, man. Thanks
Anytime.
for watching, guys, and I look forward to seeing what you do. I want to just eventually react to your part 2.
I can't wait.
Your documentary, because you did such a good fucking job.
Thanks.
And if you're new in the chat, please go check out Jimmy's documentary on the Ghost of Carmel main stuff. It's so good.
Thank you.
And you won't regret it. So there you go.
I appreciate it, Crow. You are a good friend and a brother, and we'll keep in contact, man. And if you end up doing something later, let me know. I'll hop on with you if you want.
Okay, cool, man.
All right, guys. Well, everybody, bid adieu to Crow of Judas. Thanks again for dropping in, my friend.
All right, guys. Love you guys. Talk to you later. Thanks, man.
Yep. Have a good one.
All right. Bye-bye.
Later. All right, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to say goodbye. I might hop on again here in a little while. But I kind of want this to be its own thing. And, yeah, so I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Again, thank you again, everybody, for the gifted memberships. And welcome again, everybody who is now a member. You guys are phenomenal. And there are ghosts in Carmel, Maine. I don't know anymore. Yeah. But again, I appreciate all of you for spending your Tuesday night with me. I know I'm getting off a little bit earlier than I usually would, but like I said, I'll probably come back on here in a little while if you guys want to hang out later. Thanks, Giselle. I appreciate that. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm just carrying on for way too long. Y'all have a great night. I will see you later.